Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, who are teaching us truth and sincerity. And the shout out to Yakim and Yakwath that are out there teaching and listening. Brakat to Yahweh, Brakat to Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakadash, Brakat Thumb. So, out here another week prophesying the downfall of America, Babylon the Great, because this nation is definitely divided against itself. People for years, and now as it's getting near its end, have always believed in the red-blue paradigm shift. Believing that they're either Republican or they're Democrat or they're conservative or liberal. Are divided on many issues. Especially this being Donald J. Trump's impeachment, which has been nothing more than a dog and pony show. Well, we knew that they were never going to convict him or actually be able to throw him out. But you see, they weren't charging him on actual charges they was guilty of, like personally starting a war with Iran, by assassinating Soleimani, which he said in his own words that we was that close to an all-out war with Iran last month. But Iran did retaliate, and the United States didn't do anything about it, so who has their tail tucked between their legs? But yet he's so proud and boastful. But eventually he's going to actually carry out, as you've seen him carry out the assassination of Soleimani. And people eat that shit up, man. They, when he spouts out things, man, people actually believe it. They actually believe that the economy's doing great. Even though Macy's is closing down 120 stores, causing over 2,000 jobs to be lost. And Macy's is one of the bigger places, That's not doing so good. And then you got Forever 21 closing its doors. You got, the Gap and a whole bunch of other places that are shutting down businesses, going out of business. So the economy's not really doing great, but, man, people hear that shit and they eat it up, man. Even though, again, you got a division there because there are others that are in the know that know what's going on. But they aren't really arguing over those things. They're not arguing over, he's trying to personally start a war with Syria and with Iran and with Iraq. He's getting us more involved in things that we don't need to be involved with. That's not what these so-called Americans are arguing about. Russian collusion was the basis of the so-called impeachment trials. To say that it was an unfair election? Come on, man. Presidents are selected, they're not elected. He's exactly where they want him to be, and all that was a distraction from the real deal. The real deal is Bashar al-Assad is winning the war on terrorism. He's the one that's taking out the terrorists that the United States arms. ISIS, Israeli Secret Intelligence Services, boy, they've been trying to do a number in Iraq, to make you believe that these are opposition groups that are carrying out assassinations. They even had ISIS do a rocket attack recently and say that it was Iran that launched a rocket attack. Because, of course, Iran humiliatingly retaliated, destroying a base, and the U.S. did nothing about it. So now they're going to try to falsify a rocket attack, which they had ISIS do it so they could say that Iran did it. Sounds like Israeli intelligence services to me. Yep. They've been doing quite a few things as of lately. They've been bombing Damascus. Of course, the Damascus air defense systems have been taking down those things, So they need something bigger besides the Israeli state, besides Amalek. And Gomer and all his bands is, now threatening the Syrian Arab army to come in there, and that they are going, if Bashar al-Assad doesn't retreat and give these places back to those terrorist groups, that Turkey's going to get involved with it. Saying that Syria has violated, but they didn't violate anything. Well, I didn't catch Syria going into Turkey and taking places, even though, by all means, Turkey started this shit, right? Syria would have every reason to actually go in there and start moving their military towards Ankara if they actually wanted to. But you see, all they're trying to do is liberate their country from these terrorist groups that the United States, Gomer and all his bands, Israeli state, Amalek, and Saudi Arabia, all these proxies, which is really a war on Syria. Just like the original war of Iraq. The war on Iraq. And yet the people have spoken. Now the U.S. Has built 3 more military bases in the opposition of. After their base was destroyed, they built 3 more bases, even though the Iraqi people said they wanted the U.S. out. And you know that the U.S. is not going to leave there. No, of course not, because they're the military police of the world. So while they're over there in the Middle East, in the Valley of Yehoshaphat, especially there in Saudi Arabia, well, what do you think's going to happen over here? Well, somebody has to install curfews. So before they can bring in the army after next, the UN, they have to disarm the people, right? So you got pro-gun rallies going on in Kentucky and in Virginia, and those places, they're trying to fight to keep their gun rights, but they're being taken away. You know, there's a legislature there. And then we got Measure A here in Reading, which is really, if you take a look at the pictures, try to promote Measure A. You know, building bigger facilities, jails, and, more militarized police. But what are these pictures of? Mostly the homeless, right? Because you got all the cranksters and everything else hanging out with the homeless, so the homeless get the bad rap. Even though the homeless have been there for years. You know, and then you have your recent car fire ones as well among the homeless. But the real true thing, though, is that what they want to do is they want to round everybody up in the FEMA camp. So why not just put them all in one area? Criminals. You know, keep them in the criminalized area. And people, we want more law enforcement and all that. Now, it's not that people are actually going to vote for this shit, but they're going to be made to believe that they voted for it, that it was Measure A on their ballots. You know, because you keep on hearing the governor asking Trump for $1.2 billion to deal with the homeless situation here. What do you think that's for? Military police, and to pretty much put them in the FEMA camps. Because that's what these places are, you know, these so-called shelters. You know, and they had people signing up for the shelters over at Kmart, you know, the local assistance center. Yeah, the old Kmart became local assistance center for the car fire victims, which we know that was all man-made. It was the Most High controlling it, because, of course, it's part of the downsizing. Yes, the Most High is downsizing this place, and he's using Esau to do it. Got to remember, any scheme, any schematic that this devil comes up with, who controls the devil, who controls all things? It's Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. So he has a grievance with this place. He has a grievance with this place because, of course, you know, the biggest law that they broke was thou shalt not touch my anointed. And they did just that, and they're still doing that. They never opened the door to the slaves. You know, they never did free us. No, we just become debt slaves. Sure, we can have our beer and everything else at the end of the day, you know, and that's a little bit better. But, you know, at the end of the day, though, nah, man, we don't have no kingdom. We got to give it all back to the devil. Tax season comes in. You got to report your taxes, you know. You got to give the devil his dues. You got to give Caesar what's Caesar's, you know. So, nah, man. And that was the old Roman system, you know. Well, we're in the new Roman system with America leading, but all these nations, these 10 horns, are beginning to hate the whore and want to burn her with fire, especially for breaking the P5+1 deal, which was to ensure peace in the Middle East. Because Iran is one of the biggest advocates for peace in the Middle East, you know. Has been a guard unto them, but you see, they just weren't enough that, yes, Russia had to get involved. Even Hezbollah was overwhelmed, even though Hezbollah had been helping the Syrian Arab army for a long time battle these terrorist groups. It wasn't until about 2013, 2014 when they became overwhelmed. When the United States said that they were bombing ISIS when they were really bombing civilian targets, dropping bombs on little children and burning them, you know, with fire. Well, that's when Russia finally stepped in, when Vladimir Putin stepped in and said, you had, you know, because Barack Obama back then was bragging about, you know, how, we got to do something about ISIS. And then Putin says, you mentioned ISIS. Well, whose idea was it to arm the opposition groups to overthrow the government? Whose idea was that, you know? And that was at a UN meeting. See, that's just it, though, is that everybody knows that America created ISIS as a reason to go into Syria, ultimately to covet the oil fields, which is exactly what Trump is doing now. Really, truly, though, all these kingsmen are just getting ready for the next guy. which is Donald Trump. They were just getting ready for Donald J. Trump. But a lot of people thought that, this devil thought, they thought that Hillary was going to win. The media made you believe that it looked like Hillary was going to win. But, at the same time, though, they did a flip of the switch, So, of course, these impeachment trials was nothing more than a hoax to begin with. There is no Russian collusion, all that. There's no such thing as an election anyways. Presidents are selected, not elected. They just give you the illusion that you voted. Comedian George Carlin talked about this, before they actually killed him. I believe he was killed, most certainly, Anybody who speaks opposition, after a while, they get tired of your ass and they eventually do kill you, Even Prince was killed because Prince started talking about the chemtrails. Yeah, he was one of the first public figures to talk about the chemtrails, which you can see them, over the skies. And, everybody knows that that's not just normal jet fuel, that those are actual chemtrails. And that they've been spraying us with chemtrails for years. They can't hide this anymore, that even during the time of these cluster bombs, they call them something else, energy bombs? But they're not using that word, no. They want you to believe, though, that these fires are all of a sudden getting started, because, PG&E now has got to make cuts, power cuts, And then people said, well, we know what they're spraying over this, and we know that PG&E is Rothschild. So people ain't exactly a bliss anymore. That's because, hey, we've gone out there, we prophesied against Mount Seir. We have told people for so long, they're actually listening now, and then they're starting to tell on themselves. You're starting to get people that work for the military intelligence. You're getting ex-Mossad agents blowing the whistle on them. You just recently had an ex-Mossad agent say that, yes, in fact, Amalek, Israeli state, has been arming the Syrian rebels, which are, in fact, the terrorist groups. Remember how Barack Obama kept calling them the Syrian rebels? So that should tell you something right there, which is ISIS. They all became ISIS, which was a culmination of all the terrorist groups, because they have several names. So, the prophets of old, they are here today prophesying. And we're out on the streets prophesying this word, which we have received and now have the full understanding of it. Thanks to Apostle Tahar and the other apostles joined unto him, on down to now this word has gone out by word of the prophets. Amos chapter 9, and it reads, I saw the Most High standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. Well, what's that talking about? Well, that's talking about the old Egypt, right? But we're in modern day Egypt, so very applicable today, because we are definitely in modern Egypt. So this is definitely talking about the Egypt of old, but this is something that we need to do, because this place of Sodom and Egypt spiritually is about to be brought down. So this is what we need to do so that the judgments don't come upon us, especially those that have been indoctrinated, because every one of us have been indoctrinated, but now we're getting out of the indoctrinations and we are coming out of Babylon, all the Babylonian thinking, which is modern Egypt. Though they dig into hell, then shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. They got the Space Force. Donald J. Trump, is very proud of that Space Force. And then, of course, they got, you got your submarines. You got, all these other bunkers, Even Saddam Hussein had those bunkers, too. Iraq was filled with them because they knew that they were going to be attacked. So, thus, the Edomites, they have this fallout place, like they show you in the 2012, that only certain people would survive from this. But at the very end of the day, the Most High will find them. And though they hide themselves in the top of the Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. So they're going to try to hide out from this nuclear fallout, but they're going to eventually get caught anyways. They think that they've survived, but they really haven't. Because they have plans to start World War III. Everybody knows that, pretty much that, once World War III begins, that only the elitists are going to survive. And though they go into captivity before their enemies, talking about the actual ones that'll come out of this, thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them. And this is, again, talking about the elites, and the bankers that are planning this war. And I'll set my own eyes upon them for evil and not for good. And that's what's happening. They all are now starting to say, now's the time that we can spoil Babylon, because they have spoiled us. And they're taking back. They're taking it back, All these places are getting tired of Edom. South Africa, Iraq, they want to take it back. And the Lord Yahweh of hosts is he that touches the land, and it shall melt. And all that dwell therein shall mourn, and it shall rise up wholly like a flood, and it shall be drowned as by the flood of Egypt. And how's this place going to be flooded? The old one was flooded by water. Kind of like Noah's Ark, right? In Noah's Ark, right? The whole world was flooded by water. So the second flood is going to be flooded by fire, the lake of fire, right? Well, that's what this place, Babylon the Great, is going to become, the lake of fire. So it should be flooded with fire. It is he that buildeth his stories in the heaven. He hath founded his troop in the earth. Talking about you red Hebrew Edomites. He that called for the waters of the sea and poured them out upon the face of the earth. The Lord is his name. Got to remember, the Most High controls Edom and his armies. Controls Egypt and their armies. Who created Pharaoh? Who created Satan, right? Satan means opposition. Are ye not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Yashala? Now he's talking about you 2/3 that don't want to repent. Saith the Most High, have I not brought up Yashala out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Kepher, and the Syrians from Ker? Again, the Most High did raise up. He raised up his prophets. He raised up the house of David, which is what he's doing now. So, yes, he's going to bring us out of this Egypt as well. Behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saying that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Most High. And we're in that modern day wicked kingdom, and also our people as a whole, which, we are not a nation as of yet. No, because those Amalekites claiming to be Jews are not the real Jews. So no, we really have been removed from afar off. We're in every nation. We are a multitude that cannot be numbered. When you're dealing with the 2/3 and the 1/3. But we're being raised out of this Egypt. But as a whole, though, we have been taken down. And all those enemies, as Psalm 83 tells us, rejoiced in our downfall. So we're now rejoicing in the downfall of this sinful kingdom, this Babylon the Great. For I will command, and I will sit the house of Yashala upon all nations, like as a corn is sifted in a slave, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake us nor prevent us. And that's talking about the 2/3 that are going to be destroyed when these missiles come and destroy this place. Because this place, Babylon the Great, will be destroyed in 1 hour. And that hour is coming. And this is the prophecy of doom that Donald Trump said that they must dismiss. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. And this is what's happening. That's why there's no new members joining Great Millstone. We're not taking in any new members because second part of this. And close up the reaches thereof. And I will raise up the ruins, and I will build as in the days of old. And that's what's happening. We're building that new ark. We're getting ready. Because we know that this new flood is coming. And it's going to destroy this place. It's going to destroy the sinners out of this place. That they may possess the remnant of Edom. Yes, those that are digging into hell. They're digging those places, bunkers and all that. They didn't really survive anything, these elitists. They're just getting ready for us. And all the heathen, which are called by my name, saith the Most High that doeth this. So again, it reiterates that the Most High himself is the one that's doing it. Mustering up all these leaders, giving them these evil thoughts. Behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader grapes him that soweth seed, and the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. Again, let's talk about when this place is destroyed by thermonuclear fire. 200 million nuclear missiles will destroy this place in 1 hour. We're always talking about that hour. But we're also talking about the hour of temptation, because you got to consider that, which is another period of time. This temptation to get that mark of the beast, to get that RFID implant, it's going to be more pressure than ever. You know, we've been dealing a lot with seeing the economy is plunge. You know, we're seeing the retail apocalypse. Though the news is hiding it from us, you can't help but see it when places are closed down. Last year, all of a sudden, Hometown Buffet just closed. It just closed. That was it, man. A lot of people that were scheduled to go to work the next week, they come to work and they say that the place is gone. And if they didn't get there on Monday, they didn't even get a check for everything that they had worked for the week before. You see how fucked up this devil is? And the funny thing about Hometown Buffet is they've been doing this a lot. They've been doing it a lot, man. Just all of a sudden shutting shit down. Just like that. So, you know, the jobs are not secure. This economy is crashing. So their solution, because they always have a solution to the problem, is to get everybody microchip, you know, to want that microchip implant. The convenient way of paying, you know, to where you don't have to worry about somebody mugging you and stealing your wallet anymore. You know, your hand is your wallet. Amazon wants to turn your hand into a wallet, into a credit card. And that's just it, though. A lot of people are going to want that convenience, because this day of trouble is coming upon us really quickly. As you can see, though, that, you know, the job economical rate is not getting better, you know. Nah, man. Donald Trump ain't creating new jobs. He'll tell you that. And yes, a lot of people believe that bullshit, you know, are actually joined unto him. And yes, you could say the 2/3 most definitely are joined unto him, believing that shit. But take a good look around. You know, a lot of things are gone that used to be here, you know. And so you take a look at everything as a whole, and you tell me, what is the solution to this? Well, we, the elect, know what the solution is: to get right with Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. The judgment's going out, right? So you would think that a lot of people would want to join under that song, but yet Revelation 14 tells us nobody else could learn that song. You know, we're singing this new song, which is really a song of old, you know, when you think about it. And we're calling upon the names Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And this devil hates it, you know. It hates the fact that we got the names right, you know, and must reject this prophecy of doom, you know. And, well, I'll just read it. Revelation 14 and verse 3. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no one could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. So we believe the elect is already sealed, as Apostle Tahar has noted on many times. And that's why we're starting to see the judgments come thereof. So therefore, we're watching this. These are they which were not defiled with women, meaning that we were not defiled with all these other philosophies, you know. We had got it the F out, you know, as they say, get the F out. We got it the F out, you know. For they are virgins, they are they which follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth. And he's echoing his voice right now. The voice of the Lamb is among the prophets on the streets, saying that you better repent now while you still got time. Get out of these philosophies, you know. And I believe the elect are doing that, you know, so they just need us to continue harping, you know. Again, you know, it's better for us to harp upon those that might mess up than the Most High to deal, because, you know, again, 2/3 is going to spew out. He's going to spew out the lukewarm, you know. So it's much better to harp it, you know, harp on people. Being the first fruits unto Yahweh and unto the Lamb, to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of Yahweh. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth. You know, which is still part of this song, you know. Dwelling that on the earth. And to every nation and kindred and tongue and people. You know, and again, this gospel is in every language, and you're catching it now. You know, that's another thing. You've got camps everywhere and in quite a few languages. Saying with a loud voice, fear Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, and give glory unto him, for the hour of his judgment is come. Worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And that's what we're telling our people, to call upon his true name and stop worshiping Caesar Borgia. Get that image out of your mind and call upon his real true name. But also get out of these philosophies, this drunkenness. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she had made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. These so-called democracies and everything. Is this not what we're teaching every week? 20 minutes, I was already talking about all the things that Babylon the Great is doing. So, yes, indeed. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, that is the system, and his image, which is again this system, this way, and receiveth the mark in his right hand or forehead, this same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which is poured without mixture into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. What's that talking about? When this place is consumed by nuclear fire, by destruction, by way of the missiles, the hypersonic missile, that's one that can reach here in 8 minutes. That's what Vladimir Putin has, and they're going to destroy this place in 1 hour, 200 million of them. And not to mention, them chariots are going to be destroying this place too. The smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. They shall have no rest, day nor night. Whosoever worship the beast and his image, again, the philosophies, the ways of life, just the whole thing that he does. And whosoever receiveth the mark of his name, and that is the RFID implant, who's joined unto the system. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they which keep the commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and the faith of Yahushai. We have this faith, and we're going to continue to have this faith, and we're going to die for this faith, a lot of us. But we're going to die proclaiming this faith. And hey, if you should die for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that is a great honor, because you're going to be raised up in this first resurrection, when Yahushai comes to gather his redeemed from the earth. Isn't that a great thing, though? To finally die for a cause? How many lifetimes have you spent dying without cause? Think about it. For almost 400 years now, we have not, and I'm not talking about the 400-year prophecy now. That we've proven that that's not even so, because it was supposed to end in 2019. And you can see this is 2020. So anyhow, but we, well over 400 years, how many generations have we died without noble cause? Just died. This is the valley of shadow of death. Though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, right? They use that psalm a lot, But these Edomites don't know what it means, but we do. This is the valley of shadow of death. There's so many ways to die here. And you die without cause. For no cause, you can get killed. You hear about muggings all the time. You hear about, just killing over stupid shit. The KFC thing that happened, man. Somebody got killed over the goddamn sauce. And it happened in the ghetto. Think about it, though. This is the valley of shadow of death. This is exactly what the psalm is talking about, And here we are. We've been singing this song for a while. Come out of here, my people, that you be not partaker in her sins. And receiveth of her plagues. Well, look at the coronavirus that's going around, right? Well-made manufactured virus, that's going out. It's taking out people. Well, who created this virus to begin with? The elitists, right? They're chemtrailing us, So they are purposely spreading disease so that way they can also have reasons to quarantine people. Look at what they're building at March Air Force Base, a.k.a. March Air Reserve Base now. They're building these things just in case. Well, they're planning for it. And this coronavirus is definitely being used for that. Like everything else, though, it ain't going to be the only reason that it's used. No, they're building these FEMA camps for a much larger reason. To take out the resistance. But first they got to disarm the people. And these Edomites think that they're going to stop this. Their blessings being taken away. Because you see, the cuffs are coming off of us, because we are considered blameless before the Most High, for we are not defiled with women. We're not defiled with these philosophies. Are we telling our people to harm up? Though Esau likes to try to, show that image. You know, you got ISUPK, IUIC, and a whole bunch of them joined unto them. But in particularly, ISUPK is going out there, you know, trying to make us look like we're a bunch of, renegades, you know, just going around trying to arm up and get guns and go to shooting rallies. When nah, all we got is the word of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, which is stronger than any two-edged sword. So we know this. It is those groups that have no faith whatsoever. Because if their faith is in these weapons, well, the government's just going to take it from them anyways, you know, all these puppets of Esau, Edom, you know. And, you know, like everything else, though, we know, though, that this devil has a short time to rule, and he's coming to the very end of his rulership. So we're going to see the arrogancy of the king of Babylon, Donald J. Trump, continue to make this war, while they will also push for the RFID implant to be made mandatory. I mean, that's the big one, right? The mark of the beast will be made mandatory very much sooner than what one realizes. Especially after the re-election of Donald J. Trump, you're going to see things really kick off. If they don't kick off enough this year, shit, we're only in February and a lot of things have kicked off, haven't they? We're about to see a false flag chemical attack in Syria, provocated by the white helmets, and we're going to see Donald Trump try to attack them again. Hey, that's what we're hearing. So, like everything else, though, we're prophets telling you of the things to come, in particular the hour when this place is consumed by nuclear fire. So, you can reject this prophecy of doom, or you can repent while you still have time. I would just choose to repent while you still have time, because the ineffable is going to happen anyways. So, for that, I want to say, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Kakadash, Wa Abba Babal, Brakathum Yehofolek, Shalom.